Welcome, everybody. I'm James Cronenberger with Hope for the Community. Today, we have a special guest with us. She's a candidate on the Republican side in the primaries for governor of the great state of Ohio, Heather Hill. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much, James.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to be here on your show today and talk a little bit about who I am and what I want to do for Ohio.
Right. I've been sharing you with a lot of my friends, and we've never had a black Republican run for governor in Ohio. And and we've never had a black governor yet, so you could actually be the first of both.
Well, I'm not going to say if, but when I am elected, I will not only be the first ever black female governor in the United States, but I will also be the first ever elected female governor in Ohio.
Right, so you could.
This is very much a historical campaign.
Right, yeah. But this is really unique.
Way more than that. It's about electing who's the best for the job. And
right.
I know 100% that Heather Hill and Stuart Mose, our team, is the best for this job.
Okay. Share a little bit about who Heather Hill is and why you would like to be governor.
Well, I'm not your typical politician. I'm a wife, a military mom, a foster parent, and an entrepreneur. But more importantly, I'm someone who understands your values, your struggles, and your dreams for a better future. I'm running because Ohio needs a leader who understands what it means to fight, serve, and work hard for everyday Americans like you and me.
And that's true. I know I had several questions coming from some people that are behind bars as well. Would you be willing to work towards pro reform so that people would have a fair opportunity for pro? Not that everybody would automatically get out, but they would have a fair opportunity.
Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by a fair opportunity.
Okay, there's so many people that are going to the pro board, and the pro board's not supposed to use nature of crime anymore because that will never change, but people can. They are bringing up when Shirley Smith was a pro board member who was a former senator, and she came out bad mouthing the pro board after she left. But she would bring up tickets that was 10 years old, so people were not given a chance for parole. And they've taken so many programs out of the prison system. The governor, I think, cut the budget by I don't know. I think it was like $5 million, which cut the programming for the prisoners. That they needed. For reentering society. So we think that people should have a fair opportunity for parole. Going by the conduct.
Absolutely. Right. I can get behind that 100%.
And I don't think everybody in prison should come home. Don't get me wrong. I do believe accountability is important, and that goes for our legislators.
They should have the opportunity to have a fair parole process.
Right.
I can stand behind that 100%.
Right.
The processes should always be fair. Always.
Correct.
We have rules and regulations in place, and they should be followed for everyone.
Right.
Everyone should have equal opportunity to earn their freedom.
Yeah. And years ago, the system, was locking up more and more black people, and they were getting flagged at the pro board. But it's not even about race anymore. It's about who has money and who doesn't have money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because everybody deserves a fair chance, while they're incarcerated. So I do appreciate what you said. I also noticed that you're interested in CPS reform, which I have a lady that's like a daughter to me that her kids were taken away unfairly. And I like that you stand behind a reform on that as well.
Yes, sir. Can we go back, James, please, and can you tell me about some of the programs that they're trying to cut out of the prisons for the prisoners to be reformed?
Well, I don't know all the names. I know that they had a lot of college in the past, and they're making it real difficult for the inmates. If you don't have like 5 years to the pro board, you're not really eligible for most programming in the prisons and college. They had Thinking for a Change. They had oh boy, I can't even name half of them anymore. But several inmates said they have taken out quite a few of the programming. Um, Horizon Initiative, which I was part of at Marion, which was originated by Warren Money and Jeff Hunsinger. It was an outstanding program. And that left Marion and some of the other prisons, and that was an interfaith where it accepted all faiths. The Christians would meet with the Christians, the Buddhists would meet with the Buddhists, like that. But they've taken out those programs. Another one is victims awareness. That's not being taught in every prison, but the Pro Board recommends or requires it for release for most inmates.
Oh wow! Well, one thing that I want to definitely encourage you to do is contact my Lieutenant Governor Stuart Moose.
Okay.
He is very involved in the prison system.
Okay.
He does a prison ministry.
Awesome. If you could send me his contact information. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
We can set you up an interview with him because that would be a wonderful opportunity for you all to brainstorm and talk about some of those things.
Right.
Also, someone who's very close to me and part of my campaign team works in the prison system.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we 100% understand the prison system and how important it is to make sure that folks are reformed and
right.
able to get back into society
right.
and be a productive part of society.
Right.
That's what we all want.
Right, and we don't need a governor like the present one that thinks mostly like a prosecutor. And I don't mean to bash anyone, but when you only think like a prosecutor, people will not get a fair chance when it comes to release, such as clemency, the death sentence. People won't get a fair chance. And we need a governor in there that will look at both sides, and that does not mean every single person should walk free. But it means that they should be treated with respect while they're locked up. The punishment was being taken away from their families, not to be abused in the system.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with me. It really gives me a lot to think about and research.
Well, I'm very impressed with what you stand for. I noticed that you're pro-life as I am. And when I was younger, I started a group in Cleveland called Greater Cleveland Youth for Life. It was modeled after Youth for Christ, but I just changed the name to Youth for Life. I was in high school. It was all high school students. And Dr. Jack Rilke, the president of National Right to Life, helped me organize that with a couple of the Cleveland Browns. So I've always been pro-life. And I was adopted, and maybe that's one reason. How do you feel about traditional marriages?
Well, I believe that traditional marriage is just as God intended it, between one man and one woman.
I agree.
But a lot of the country doesn't feel that way.
No.
This is the thing. When I say that it's so important for Christians to elect other Christians, this is what I mean. It's common sense. I am running against two folks that neither one of them really have any kind of belief in Christ.
That's true. That's true.
And it's really terrible. It's terrible that other Christians are willing to push aside their faith, everything they've been taught from the Bible, and their love for Jesus to elect people that don't represent our true values.
Right.
And that's horrible, because when we start to again elect people that have the same values as us, that is when things will truly change. We sit back as Christians and we look around with our arms folded and say, how did this happen? How did Ohio, how did America become so satanic? Well, the way that it happened was by good people doing nothing, just like Martin Luther King said.
Right.
Good people to sit back and do nothing.
Right.
And we have something. We have to take a stand. We have to support our other Christian brothers and sisters that are running for government.
I agree. You know, and I believe our Constitution was founded on biblical principles. I know the left won't agree with me on it, but it was. In God we trust. They took down a lot of the stuff in the courts where it said in God we trust. You know, the ACLU has been a big part of taking down anything to do with God in it.
Absolutely.
You know, and
Our way of life, our Christianity, everything we love and it we hold near and dear to our hearts is under attack, and it all starts with our children. Just like you were starting to talk about CPS.
right.
And I hope that we get a chance to dive into the education system as well.
Right.
Those systems are in place to groom our children and remove children out of home.
Right. And CPS is also a big part of human trafficking.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely. And more evidence of that is coming out.
right.
That is coming out every day.
Right.
You know, it's horrible what has happened. I often think about my grandmother's been gone for around 32, 33 years now. And I often think if my grandmother could come back into this world today, her mind would be blown.
Yeah,
They're grooming our children in the school system. They are celebrating and rewarding the women that kill their infants.
Right.
In spite of their wound.
Yeah.
You know, just all of the things that are so far from any kind of Christian values.
Right. Yeah, it was like Kirk Cameron was saying the other day that he was supposed to read a children's book in the library, but they came and told him he couldn't read it there. But then right afterwards, they had transgender people read to the kids.
Oh my goodness, that just breaks my heart.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not saying we should judge people because I have gay friends and I don't judge them. But you know, Kirk Cameron's a great man of God. You know, he took his faith over money and fame.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely he did.
you know, and so many of the stars now that accepted Christ have really turned. Look at that country singer. I forget what his name is now. When he got his award the other day, he shared Christ on stage.
Jelly Roll.
Yeah, Jelly Roll. And I got to talk to him on the phone before. I'm trying to get to do an interview with him, but he was in prison for drug trafficking.
He has been a supporter of my campaign as well, been very verbal about that. And
awesome.
Two of his friends, Struggle Jennings and Jesse Howard.
Oh, okay.
They have become very big supporters of mine as well, and have lent me their songs as my campaign songs. So
awesome.
You know, just a great group of people. Great group of people.
That would be. I mean, he's a great guy to have aboard. You know, because there is some great Christian people that will speak for candidates. Look at the ones that spoke on behalf of President Trump. You know, and I don't know if President Trump's a Christian or not, but he shares some of the values that Christians would have. Only him and God knows if he ever accepted Christ.
That's right. But you know, he's fighting for Christian values as well.
Right. And you know, and now he's been cleared pretty much of the Epstein files. He reported it back in 2008 about what was happening. You know, and people just won't let it go.
Well, not only did he report it, but all of the survivors have said that President Trump had nothing to do with it.
You're correct. And the one lady spoke in front of the Capitol, said that, you know, but I do believe whoever participates should be held accountable.
Absolutely.
You know, but sometimes money can cover up stuff, and that's not really fair.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to do when you become governor?
Well, the first thing that I am looking forward to doing is offering the people of Ohio true representation and true transparency. this is something that Stu and I are going to do with Ohio. For the first time, we are going to bring unity, bring Christianity, bring our morals and values into the State House and represent the people of Ohio. And we are going to work with everyone. There are so many different hot topics right now that are going on in Ohio, and none of them is any more important than another to me. The
Right.
main goal is to make sure that Ohio is what it needs to be for all of us.
Right. So you would be willing to work with the Democrats as well on some issues.
Absolutely.
Good.
I will work with anybody.
Good.
That's the difference between myself and politicians, because I'm not a politician. I am your neighbor. I am your friend. I am the business owner down the street. So we don't have this false sense of superiority that you find in other politics or
Right.
politicians. You know, where they feel like they're superior to everyone else, and they're not willing to talk to people that they don't want to, or they feel like they won't agree with.
Right.
They're not willing to a lot of times just sit down and hear what regular, everyday people are going through.
Right.
You know, and one thing that I like to share with people is, because I've had quite a few people when I'm out campaigning ask me for an autograph or for certain things, and I'm like, I am not a rock star. I'm not anything, you know, some kind of superstar. I'm just a regular, everyday military mom, wife, Christian
Right.
entrepreneur.
Right.
So we really need we need to keep that in mind when we hire our politicians. You know, they come in with this this sense that they're just grand and that everybody should just bow to them, and that's not the case. So
Right.
we are going to work with everybody. We have already started building relationships with the Libertarian Party,
Good.
some of their candidates. We definitely we have a lot of friends and family that are in the Democratic Party, but we've had the most problems out of our own party, you know, with letting us come to endorsement interviews and things like that. Just like we were just told today by the Franklin County Republican Party that they did not know that we were running as Republicans.
Yes, they knew because I talked to them about it.
You did talk to them about it, yeah, and
Yeah.
several people have.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of mentality that is in our party today.
Right.
They want to stop this.
Right.
Because they will lie, manipulate anything that they can to keep outside candidates from being heard.
Right.
And this is what I want to ask your listeners. If they control the options, do you really have a choice? We don't.
No.
They're only giving you 3 options, and those are all the options that they have selected for you from their good old boys club that plays musical chairs with their positions in politics.
Right.
Do you have an option? No, you don't. And just like the media, all of these people are complicit in this mind control or manipulation in our politics, and it's really horrible. It's horrible because they all work together to make sure that you have no options. Just like people have told me, I've been campaigning for 2 years. I was the first candidate to announce, and I worked on President Trump and Bernie Moreno's campaign.
Right.
Directly after that, I announced, right after the presidential election.
Right.
But the media wouldn't cover me. You know, this is the 3rd year of Lincoln Day dinner that I've been requesting being able to attend. That I've been requesting the ability to speak at these events, because
Right.
as a Republican politician, this should be offered to me.
Yeah, like they have all these Lincoln Day dinners. I used to go to quite a few. My dad used to be president of council in Palmer Heights and very active in the Republican Party when I was growing up. And he'd go to all these Lincoln Day dinners. I went with him to a couple. I enjoyed mostly the food though because I was young. But I seen. I remember Governor Rhodes was a speaker at one of them. You know, probably the longest U.S. governor.
Yeah.
You know, that was before term
Well,
limits.
you know, and this is the thing. I'm not saying any of this to make anybody feel sorry for me, because there is
Right.
we're going to keep on fighting.
Yeah.
But I say this to let people know how difficult it is to really try to run for office when you're a true outsider.
Right. And if you're a billionaire, you'd have everybody want to interview you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that comes to another question. Financially, if someone would like to make a donation to your camp or get involved in campaigning with you, how would they get involved and how would they make the donation?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. Our website address is fightlikehill.com, and that's fight like HILL, my last name.com. On there are all kinds of buttons that you can click that says donation. It goes directly to a Safe Wind Red account, which is used throughout campaigns for the Republican Party. So you can go on there and you can make a donation. You can sign up to volunteer. We are completely 100% volunteers. We don't hire anyone. We
Right.
don't ask for donations and money unless we need it. And right now we are desperately trying to get our yard signed, so any donation is very much appreciated.
Yeah, and yard signs are very expensive, and really any campaign literature that you pass out is, stuff you might pass out on election day.
Yep, it's fair. Everything's very expensive.
Right.
But the thing is, we're changing the way. After this campaign, we are going to literally see the way that Ohio candidates campaign.
Right.
Because all of this manipulation where we're being told that you have to raise millions of dollars, that you have to do this and do that, that's completely false. That is a way for the media to pad their pockets by making candidates think you have to spend millions of dollars on advertising campaigns, and that's not the truth.
Right. Sometimes word of mouth. Yeah, sometimes word of mouth is the best.
Absolutely, it's the word of best, but it's the best.
Oh.
And
I do think we do need to get you on TV or radio though, before the primaries.
We will interview with any and everyone. We will come and meet with any and everyone. I live in my RV most of the year, and I travel all around the state of Ohio, just going to different events. And right now we're having several people that are wanting to have house parties for us.
Huh.
A house party is very simple. I mean, literally, you just invite like 10 to 20 of your friends, and you have us come and speak for an hour. You may put out a little bit of cheese and crackers and bottles of water, but it's nothing major. It's just a very intimate setting where we can sit down and actually talk to people and answer questions.
That's actually a good idea.
Yes, it is. And Stu and I welcome questions. Ramaswamy, he will literally dart out after an event because he doesn't want tough questions. We welcome them.
Right.
The only candidates that give out our private cell phone numbers.
Right.
Because we want to talk, we want to interact with the voters because that's who we work for.
Well, I believe you got a good shot. We got to keep praying that God will put in the right people in office.
Absolutely.
There's one last question somebody just asked on YouTube, and it's up to you if you want to answer this. Now, regarding ICE, I will support them if they actually get the criminals and the people that's doing the human trafficking. How do you feel about them being in Ohio right now?
I think it's great that they're in Ohio. I really think it's great. I think that what they're doing is, and just to kind of back up a little bit and give full transparency, my son is in the military along with his wife, and
Okay.
His wife just recently got hurt, but he's going to be leaving the military soon, and one of the jobs that they offered him was to work for ICE.
Okay.
But I think what ICE is doing is very, very, very important because, like you said, the people that have come into this country that are criminals, that are sex trafficking our children, that are literally walking up to women, walking on the streets and punching them in the face as they walk by. A lot of these people that have come into have come into our country from other countries are not good people. They're not good people. They're very angry. They're very jealous of Americans.
Right.
You know, a lot of them are just, they come here for no good reason.
Right.
And that is to say some. That is not all.
Right.
That is some. A lot of the people that migrate into this country are good, hard-working people that
Right.
want to be here and live a good life. But we need ICE agents to take care of the rest.
That I agree with.
Trump is doing. My son, who's in the military, is getting ready to purchase a home that's near the Memphis area because President Trump is there cleaning it up. No one would have ever lived near Memphis before President Trump decided to go in there and clean up everything. So we really need to be mindful of why we have laws, why we have law enforcement, and why we have ICE agents. These folks are putting their lives on the line to protect us. So we
Right.
need to respect that.
Right.
We have laws of our land, just like the Bible talks about laws of the land.
Right.
We are to honor the laws of the land.
Right.
And those laws are protected by our officers, and we need to give them respect.
Right. Well, I really appreciate this time that we could talk to you, and if you would be willing to send me the information for your running mate, we'd love to get him on here, and we're going to continue to pray for you and your team. And with God, all things are possible. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much
yeah.
for your prayers and your support. And once again, to your listeners, if you have any questions or concerns or just want to pray with us, please reach out. Our website again is fightlikehill.com, and my cell phone number is 740-624-0162. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Hill, for joining us today.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.